Welcome to this professional development session on numeracy interventions. The goal of this session is to deepen your understanding of what it means to intervene in numeracy, with the explicit purpose of challenging your current beliefs on numeracy intervention. With this deeper understanding, we will look at two current intervention programs, the Getting Ready for Numeracy program, also known as GRIN, and the Quick Smart Numeracy program. We will discuss their purpose and implementation, then critically review their successfulness in improving student ability. Through this review, I hope to help in your decision making about these programs, give you the tools required to critically analyse other numeracy interventions, and build your awareness in the purpose and need for numeracy intervention. In today's session, we will look at why we need numeracy interventions in schools and the characteristics to look for in an intervention program. We will delve into the GRIN and Quick Smart programs, critically analysing and comparing each program, and I will make my recommendations and allow time for further discussion with colleagues. I would like you to consider this statement. People will happily admit to being bad at math. You will never hear someone openly admit to not being able to read. No one believes it is okay to be illiterate, but many believe it is perfectly acceptable to be illiterate. Intervention in literacy is a given in all schools, so why not intervention in numeracy also? A quick Google of bad at math cartoons will supply you with many examples of how people feel about mathematics. This one, depicting two enumerate people, is considered normal and even funny. However, if I was to show you this second cartoon, depicting an illiterate father, many people would have the opposite reaction. So why do we need math interventions? Because we need to change the belief that success in numeracy is only achievable for an elite few. With all of that in mind, I would like you to pause the session here for a moment and discuss the following points with your colleagues. What do you think intervention looks like in numeracy? Where is intervention in numeracy most needed? Do you know of or already use any intervention programs in numeracy at your school? You can resume the session once you are ready. So, what is intervention? According to the Oxford Dictionary, to intervene means to step in and/or interfere in something to change the set course or issue. When we intervene in a student's learning in numeracy, we do so with the explicit purpose of changing the current state of knowledge held by that student. But how can we ensure effective, long-lasting change and success? Coburn states, if we are to effect deep and consequential change in classroom practice, then our intervention programs must go beyond surface-level changes. These changes should have a deep and long-lasting impact on teachers' core beliefs, content knowledge, pedagogical principles that are underlying their practice. Keeping in mind the points you have just discussed, and along with Coburn's recommendations, the text shown here have been used to create the 7 guidelines for a successful numeracy intervention. I would highly recommend looking at the ACER report for further information on numeracy interventions. The suggested guidelines for a good numeracy intervention are as follows. Realistic staff requirements, which means they are achievable and affordable for schools. Without adequate staffing, a school may become overwhelmed and lose motivation to implement the program. The program must provide ongoing staff support and staff development to ensure teachers and tutors feel confident in their ability to deliver the program effectively. Small groups or individualised interventions must be the focus for the delivery of the program. These small groups or one-on-one time help create a safe and nurturing environment that builds students' confidence and self-belief. The criteria for students' participation in an intervention program must be based on appropriate and sound diagnostic assessment. Furthermore, the assessment is ideally a part of the program and done at intervals throughout the program. The program should be based on a whole school approach to intervention, not just focusing on junior school, but incorporating K to 6, 7 to 12, or K to 12, depending on your school setting. Early diagnosis and early intervention are paramount to success and should be the starting point for programs. And finally, the program's tutoring sessions should be based on evidence-based principles of effective teaching to ensure consistency and success. Before we jump into the intervention programs, I believe it is important to understand how students create new thinking pathways in numeracy, as this knowledge is fundamental to whether a program will be effective or not. Booker states to effectively construct new ways of mathematical thinking, we must begin with concrete materials to draw out patterns, link them to the mathematical language to provide meaning, and only moving to the symbolic expression that show what is happening more concisely when the learner has adopted the way of thinking as their own. Creating students who can own their learning and use the knowledge they have acquired in new and different ways throughout their life is the ultimate goal of teaching in numeracy and should apply to all students, not just the ones who are already successful in this process. So let's have a look at the GRIN program. It is an intervention program aimed at students from Year 3 through to secondary school. The creators of GRIN believe that all students can be highly successful in numeracy with the right support and intervention. The program focuses on building student confidence and developing their growth mindset as the drivers for success in mathematics. The purpose of the program is to re-engage students that have become disengaged and disconnected from their mathematics lessons. The program builds students' confidence and develops their growth mindset to ensure success. Bowler states, students who fear what they are learning will not be able to learn as efficiently as those who are confident. The GRIN program works to remove that fear to ensure student success. The aim of the program is to decrease the cognitive load so that struggling students can keep up with the math lesson and maintain engagement throughout the lesson. This is done through small group tutoring sessions that introduce the mathematical language and concepts that students will be covering in their upcoming class lesson. What does GRIN look like in practice? When first implementing the program, teachers and tutors attend one full-day PL session, and further PL is then attended in the form of 2 half-day sessions throughout the program. Each cycle goes for 6 months. Firstly, current school assessment and data is reviewed to choose participants. The GRIN program does not have its own assessment. It uses data from other sources, such as the PAT test. Then the tutor and teacher meet to discuss the upcoming mathematical concepts to be taught. They focus on the vocabulary, materials, tools, and activities the students will most likely encounter in the maths lesson. The students are then withdrawn from class for 3 15 to 25 minute small group sessions per week. There is a maximum of 3 students per group. The students then participate in their normal class with support from the teacher based on their GRIN tutoring session. And finally, the teacher and tutor meet again after the weekly sessions to reflect on the students' progress. Let's look now at the advantages and disadvantages of GRIN. Whilst there are positives for the program, such as strong collaboration between teachers and tutors, the small group focus, consistency with tutors and the class lesson, focus on building a growth mindset and the low cost, I believe there are 3 main problems that need to be seriously considered before undertaking the program at your school. Firstly, the criteria for tutors. Ideally, tutors would be teachers who have specialised content knowledge in mathematics. This results in strong, experienced classroom teachers being removed from the classroom setting, where they are highly beneficial and needed. Secondly, the time required each week for the teacher-tutor planning sessions. Teachers are already managing overcrowded timetables and workloads. This extra time off class may be hard to find and quite possibly require the school to hire casual teachers to cover classes. Not only does this add to the cost of the program, but it is once again removing valued teachers from the classroom setting. Before and after school sessions are possible, however unlikely to be supported by staff. Thirdly, the amount of time students are withdrawn from class, an issue I think that impacts greatly on the primary school classroom. Whilst the program suggests withdrawing students at different times during the week to avoid students missing the same lesson, I believe this would be difficult in the primary school classroom, where there are daily disruptions to learning time, planned and unplanned. This high level of withdrawal for GRIN sessions, along with other interventions or programs being run at the school, may impact student learning across all subjects, possibly causing them to feel separate from their class or like they are falling further behind. It is also common in primary schools for the RFF teacher to take a class during a maths session. This then presents a third person requiring off-class time to be involved in the collaboration and preparation of the tutor sessions. Take some time now to have a read over and discuss the advantages and disadvantages that have been highlighted, as well as any others you may have thought of, and discuss with your colleagues how these may apply to your school. So let's look at the Quick Smart Numeracy program now. It is an intervention program aimed at students in years 5 to 8. Similar to the GRIN program, Quick Smart also focuses on reducing the cognitive load on students to enable them to succeed in the classroom. However, they do this by focusing on increasing the students' automaticity and speed retrieval of number facts. The goal of the program is to develop fluency and efficiency in the students. This is done through small group tutoring sessions delivered in units of work that go for 3 to 4 weeks duration, and focus on a specific set of mathematics facts. The focus facts come in the form of flashcards that are organised into sets of related number facts, with various combinations and that are ranging in difficulty. Repetition is used to develop memorisation of these focus facts. The program also focuses on building self-efficacy and self-confidence through structured tutoring sessions. So what does it look like in practice? Well, the program runs for 30 weeks over 12 months. In this 30-week period, there are 2 weeks at the beginning used for setup and 2 weeks at the end used for closing down. In the first 2 weeks, potential participants are identified through the targeted assessment test that comes with the program, known as the Computer-Based Academic Assessment System, also known as CAS. Once the participants are chosen, the tutoring sessions begin. The tutoring sessions withdraw 2 students for 3 30-minute sessions per week. Ideally, students complete 90 sessions over the year. Each session follows the exact same structure for consistency. The final 2 weeks are the post-program testing period, used to assess student achievement and determine if they can graduate from the program. Most students will graduate after the 90 lessons. Some students may require a second year on the program, but their progress is much quicker. This program includes 6 professional development days for selected staff, which are broken into 3 sets of 2 days over the first year of implementation. So with the guidelines for effective intervention in mind, along with the points you have just discussed with your colleagues, let's have a look at how these programs compare. Unfortunately, neither program meets all the guidelines we have discussed earlier in this presentation. GRIN definitely has the potential to be perhaps more effective due to the structure of its tutoring sessions and the focus on growth mindset. However, it does not provide the important diagnostic assessment that comes with the Quick Smart Numeracy program and is a vital tool for teachers who are looking at moving students on from intervention. It is also important to note that the negative response to staff requirements is generalised and the staff requirements of either program may be achievable for your school. Take some time now to discuss both programs' results and how they may apply to your school. As evidence supporting either program's effectiveness is scarce and limited to what has been provided by the developers of the program, we must base our consideration on whether the intervention is incorporative of the general principles of effective intervention, as listed earlier in this presentation. Based on these principles, specifically the need for an intervention to be whole school focused, early and incorporative of best teaching practice, neither program is recommended as an appropriate ongoing solution to numeracy intervention. How can we best then support our students who struggle in numeracy? Heiber and Grouse state that understanding how concepts and processes are constructed and connected provides a basis for overcoming misconceptions and inappropriate ways of thinking. Booker supports this idea of intervention being based on understanding a student's thinking and suggests that intervention should be guided by the following steps: the identification of understandings and errors in student thinking, uncovering the sources of difficulties, revealing inadequacies in thinking to the students themselves, the implementation of how to construct or reconstruct appropriate ways of thinking, and practice that is focused and motivating to allow a way of thinking to become secure. So what does this mean for your school and numeracy intervention? Consider this: does your school already have the expertise and resources to create your own numeracy intervention plan? Perhaps the best intervention a school can use is to build a team within the school using their already highly experienced and knowledgeable teachers, using staff who already are invested in the school, who know the students of the school, understand the school context and areas of need best. Using the recommended guidelines and suggestions by Booker, schools could form a team of specialised teachers to devise a specific program which addresses the school's specific needs, a program that will work within the current school financial, staffing and timetabling parameters, but that can also grow and change with the school and staff. Perhaps a challenge you may be ready to take on. Thank you so much for attending today's sessions. I hope it's been thought-provoking and has challenged your current beliefs on numeracy interventions.